So before we get into this, I'm going to let you know that all of my tools that I've been using today are going to be in the description of the video with affiliate links, of course, for Amazon, as I get everything usually from Amazon. Now this toolkit right here is a generic toolkit. It might be branded something else if it's a different link or something, but these toolkits, I think they're literally just Alibaba toolkits that people buy from Alibaba and then resell and rebrand and put their own brand on them. I've seen different brands, exact same toolkit, different name and everything, and yeah, that's basically the same thing. It's an electric USB-C styled screwdriver that I like to use now. I used to use a manual screwdriver, but I mostly use this, and this blue mat will be on there, and also everything with regards to which solder I use. So I'm using this solder because it has some flux inside of it, and it does have some lead. It does have lead. Make sure that you have a good atmosphere for anything like this if you're using solder like this. And my soldering iron that I'm using is just a cheap soldering iron that was like $30 Canadian, and yeah, I'm gonna clean that off when it gets to the temperature. And I'm also going to be using some flux inside of a little syringe, and yeah, I'm going to be using that for the one part that we're going to have to use today. And get yourself some 90% rubbing alcohol. This is not actually 70, it's 90% rubbing alcohol that's inside there, and I highly recommend you to do that because we're going to clean this thing up a bit too. Now take your game out, take your battery out, or batteries out. Yeah, these have Panasonic batteries. This came from the pawn shop that I bought this from. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. It's just been kind of just sitting around. Now the screwdrivers bits that we're going to be using with this kit is the Y2.5. I know the Y2 works as well, but the 2.5 is probably the best one that actually fits the Y tri-wing screwdriver bits or screws. And the PH0 bit should be good enough for most of the screws on the inside. Now another thing about this mat is that we have a numbering system as I throw my screwdriver on the ground so that we can keep track of where our screws are. On the most part, the Y tri-wing bits are on all the same size and everything, and I plan on using the new screws that came with my easy or extreme rate kit. I'm not going to be using the extreme rate kit though, because the extreme rate kit, the back door that has the USB-C port does not work, so I don't want to have to do anything like drilling out a hole or anything like that. Now the other thing I am going to use though, I am going to use the buttons from the Easy Flash, and yeah, I'm going to use those. I'm going to make sure it has all the metal prongs and stuff as well. Hopefully it does. Now these button kits, I'm not sure if it comes with the metal prong. Maybe it's in another bag or something. Now I think this is the aligner tool for that kit, but we're not going to be able to have to use that anyways, so I'm going to dump everything out here on the table. And the reason why I'm using these ones is because I don't like the color of these ones. These are kind of purple, but they're not, I don't know, I don't like the color of them. I think this will match a lot better. So this is the Easy Flash, and it has actually a clear power button switch as well. And we have our start and select buttons right here, and we are going to get those out of there as well. So ABX and Y, or not ABX and Y, AB buttons, and your D-pad button as well. So this is going to be really, really cool. You obviously saw it in the thumbnail, and I'm kind of excited for this. So let's see if we can find the metal prongs. Now the rest of this is just garbage. Now inside of here, maybe these metal prongs, yeah, they're right there. Okay, there's those metal tabs right there, and those go inside of, see how there's metal tabs right here? They go inside of this. I can actually just pull these out of this one. So this is for the right one. Some prep work for you when you want to do this yourself. And if you like this sort of content, don't forget to subscribe. This is Modding Monday, when YouTube doesn't penalize me for uploading videos that are not illegal. Then I will be uploading videos every Monday. I missed one Monday this month, and that's because of YouTube, and I'm still fighting that case. The YouTube, if you want to actually Google something, maybe you should actually learn how to do your job. That's all I'm going to say about that with YouTube. YouTube is, kind of a joke sometimes, but anyways, so yeah, we don't need this anymore. The metal plate is already installed on the actual shell as well, and I'm not using this shell. This is the extreme rate shell. Unfortunately, I wasted money on that in a sense. So let's use the tri-wing bit first, or maybe let's use a PH bit. So there's one Phillips screw down here in the middle, and I'm gonna unscrew that first and maybe remagnetize my, there we go. And we can put that at number 1. and then we're going to use the tri-wing for the rest of them. And these screws, you can tell they're pretty gross and old, so it kind of is something that I don't want to reuse because they are that old and that gross. So you could reuse them if you wanted to, but I highly recommend you to use some new screws. Now, again, this is just me shooting the crap with you guys, you know, talking about, you know, the history of my experiences with this kind of stuff. I've done, I think, maybe about a handful of GBAs now with these kind of different mod kits. There's a whole bunch of different ones out there. This is the V5 Hispeedido one again, like I said at the intro. And I have not used this mod kit yet. I used to use the V3 kit all the time, and now we're gonna keep these off to the side so we can, you know, kind of match the length of the screws, because I don't know which screws are what inside that kit up there. But another thing that we have to take note of is how dirty the inside of this GBA shell is. So what we're gonna do is grab our plastic spudger tool, is remove this ribbon cable. So this push tab right here, push it up on both sides, slowly but surely, and take note that this is a 32 pin connection, because there's two different ribbon cables inside this kit that allow you to use it either for a 32 pin, and I think the other one's a 40 pin. And just pull that out nicely. That's just the screen. The screen's still good, so I don't really need to worry about that. And pull that out there. Now there's going to be two screws on the board if I remember correctly, so one right there and one right there. So we have two screws on the inside. Those are Phillips screws, and this is probably, honestly, oh, that's the tri-wing, my mistake. Don't try to strip your screws. The easiest, you know, mod that you could ever do, especially if you have a GBA laying around, you wanted to like level it up a bit, give it a nice screen, and make it look fresh again. Now, the right screw goes above where the speaker wires are, and the right screw is right beside this little amp right here. Or this capacitor right here, sorry, right above there. So now you can just pull this out ever so nicely, as long as it's not stuck in there. There we go. And flip that over. Now I'm gonna put stuff on the screen for you guys to see, so you can actually see what I'm doing when it comes to the soldering aspect, because we're gonna be soldering this on first, which is for the speaker. And I've never done one of these before either, so I'm pretty sure it goes right here, and we're going to find that out in a few minutes. So I'm going to desolder the old speaker first and just leave it inside this and some flux, and that's what I usually do when I desolder anything. And we can just push that through and it should just pop out. So I'm just pushing through that old solder as you saw there, and now that came out nicely. You can use a desoldering piece of copper or something too if you want to, but we don't need anything else out of this. This is it. That's basically, you know, all you, if you're doing the whole kit like I am. You don't need the rubber membranes unless you want to reuse everything. It's up to you what you want to do with this, but all I'm going to do with this is basically just screw that back plate back on and put it aside. So hopefully nothing falls out. Everything just kind of lines up, and I'm going to take one of these screws with the right bit again, and you can make yourself, you know, one of those panorama, or I can't remember the name of them right now. You can use the parts for something if you want to. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. I have a parts drawer. And that's where that is going. All right, so when it comes to the board, I will spray some rubbing alcohol all over it. I don't care. And that is because I'm gonna clean it up and make it look nice again, because it's pretty dirty under there. I want those contacts on the actual AB buttons to be good. I want all the contacts. Make sure you're not, you know, pressing too hard on anything, because you don't want any of the chips or anything to break off or anything like that. And obviously give your contacts on the inside of here a nice dusting. That board is looking pretty good. So on the screen, I'm going to show you a picture of the speaker module, because that's what we're going to do first. And it's going to show us exactly where we're going to solder it. So it's going to be on this side. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to flip this around, because the other solder points for the actual wires that are inside the screen, which is what we're going to install next, are going to be in certain locations as well. So I'm going to put this off to the side, and we're going to grab this screen, because the screen is just going to drop into our new shell that was provided by Hispeedido as well, or Hispeedido. I don't know what the name is. I'm sorry if I'm spelling or naming it wrong, but get over it. And as you can see here, there's different ribbon cables. So one is for 32 pin, and the other one is for the, I think, 40 pin. So I don't know which one is which. I think this one's the 40 pin. Yeah, so this one's the 40 pin, so we don't need that one, but we do need this one right here. Now I'm gonna try to see which way this goes in. Yeah, I'm sure this is, yeah, this is the way it goes in. So this ribbon cable right here is gonna go in just like this. Now I don't know why there's two of these. Maybe one is for the bottom, one's for the top. Not really sure, but yeah, ribbon cable just like that, flap over just like that. Now we have LR select. So according to the picture that I'm looking at, and you're probably looking at too on the screen, is that we have wires that are going to go from the L, R, and select, which I knew that, but where they go, we'll find that out when we look at this picture. So keep an eye on the picture when you're doing this part, but add some flux to these contact points first, and then add a little bit of solder to those points so that it's easier to actually get that wire on there. I always clean my tip off usually before I do anything like this. And as you see, nice little points right there. Now line that wire up, L, R, and select, okay? And then we're going to grab our screen, or our front casing, or whatever you want to call it, and put these wires aside for a second, and we're going to peel back the adhesive, which is right here on the back, and there's one on the top too, and basically just make sure all your wires are inside too. That includes those random ones that I don't really know what they're for. I think that might be like the touch sensors and stuff. Hispeedido. This is supposed to be just a drop-in shell, by the way. So why is this not dropping in? Oh, that's why. Because you gotta fold it under. So you gotta like line it this way and then under, and then push it up in, and it will just drop in. Okay, there we go. A little bit afraid there for a second. I thought I had to do some shell trimming, even though it's not supposed to be a shell trim. So there we go. All right, so now we're going to continue following how it says, which is grabbing the actual board and this way. Yeah, this way. Okay, so it is this way. And the speaker is supposed to just sit like this somehow over top. So maybe just bend it so it fits in there. Okay. Now it's telling us we got the TP, TP for your bunghole. So TP8, which is like up here somewhere, right here. And then that's for the R. We have TP9 and TP2. Okay. So I'm going to start with TP2 is going to be the ground, or the select button, I mean. And what this does is it basically allows you to control like the screen and stuff. And then what do they say? TP9, which is up here. And I think it's the TP8, which is up here. There is alternative points, but I'm going to use these ones for now. And grab some solder, clean off your tip. There we go. You don't need a lot there. And there we go. There's not a lot on these. You won't see like a huge ball or anything. Now the select, start with that one. There we go. And then right is this way, so I'm gonna go under. There we go. And then the TP8, or I think this one's 9. I think the 8 was on the other side. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that is 9. 9 is on the left. Now this, I'm pretty sure, don't really know exactly where these are supposed to go, so I'm gonna Google it. Yeah, these just kind of just stick down somewhere. According to, I used Handheld Legends guide, and according to their guide, these just kind of sit wherever. So we're gonna have to put the membranes in first. So A is at the top, B at the bottom, D-pad, L trigger. Make sure you don't forget anything, because when you put this all together, you're gonna be like, all right, I'm done, and then you forgot something. Done that before in the past, and it's not fun to take it all apart again and then try to do it again. Make sure you get this piece too. This goes over here. May want to grab some tweezers, just like that. And like I said, stuff starts falling out, and that's because the GBA wasn't really built for click in place parts. It was literally just a whole bunch of drop-in pieces. Now start and select. I don't think these go in any specific. Oh, they do. You'll be able to tell because of the knobs at the back. So hopefully these just drop into place, and I stop pulling these parts out. And we're going to use these purple rubber membranes that came with the other kit. Now, maybe I'm wrong about the plastic. Oh yeah, this isn't for this. I don't know what this is for. Maybe that's nothing, because I thought this was rubber, and I was like, why are we using plastic inserts? But yeah, I was completely wrong there. Questioned that before I even did it. And that sticks in there, and then we can put them down. And yeah, these triggers and these outside pieces are going to be the most pain in the butt for you. I'll tell you that now. Yeah, see, they always fall out. Okay. Now we're going to try to flip this over, and I'm going to try to figure out where to put this piece. So I'm going to try to this down here, and it's like some sort of adhesive. Okay, I'm just going to leave that there. I don't know what that's for. I really don't know what those are for. Anybody wants to comment in the comment section, let me know. Then please do so. So now I'm going to flip this over, try to line up that new speaker and everything, get it in that slot. Now these are just going to fall out, so I'm just going to let these fall out, and I don't know why I always bother with those first. And we're going to try to line up everything here, and stuff wants to fall out. Okay, yay! Now I swore there was like some sort of mesh or something for the speaker, and I know the speaker goes in a specific way too. There we go. Okay, I just had to twist it a certain way so that it would actually sit in there. Hopefully the speaker still works after all this. Ha! 'Cause I've never done a speaker mod before, so this is something new. And then all these wires, you want to try to make sure that they're out of the way of all your contacts and stuff too. Okay, there's all your wiring. Oh, and make sure you put that one piece back in again because it fell out. Your little flipper goes over here and it's underneath everything. Saw it fall out too. So gently lift this up. Now that we have everything lined up, it's kind of a matter of not moving things, which I just did. There we go. Now you can try to tuck all these wires up in here too to try to hide them, and use some Kapton tape if you want to. But before you do any of that, probably just make sure that everything works. So that's what we're gonna do, and then we're going to use the Kapton tape. So I'm gonna put those 2 screws back in, which is this one right here, and I am gonna use the originals for this part at least. And when it comes to new plastic, I like to kind of use just the normal threading without the actual oh, that fucking piece fell out again. You donkey. Yeah, this piece sucks. This is the light, so it illuminates through the plastic. It goes to show you that this isn't really a walk in the park, especially if you don't do this all the time. There we go. Back in there. Hopefully all the membranes are still in there now too. And the speaker fell out too. Speaker, you suck. There we go. All right. Oh yeah, I guess there's no black or anything, or no, let's get that other side in. Okay. Everything feels good. That piece is in there, illuminating in there at least. And now again, this thing, I don't know what this is for. Maybe somebody can shed some light on what this is for, but according to where they put it, they just stuck it somewhere random. And yeah, it doesn't really look like, if you want to check out their website, you can. It doesn't really look like it's supposed to do anything. So, well, it must do something, but I'm not sure what. Hopefully this screen still works. I have had this screen just sitting on my shelf for a long time, so probably over a year now. Now we're going to put this ribbon cable in ever so gently, and again, hopefully you made sure you paid attention to what you had for a 32 or a 40 pin, because it would suck if you had to take all that apart again. I'm also not sure if this battery's charged up or not, but we're going to check it out. We're going to find out. We're going to see in just a few seconds. Because as you can tell, like, those wires aren't really going to be noticeable anyways, so it doesn't really matter, but we're going to see if this battery's all charged up. And it goes in one way, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure this has to come out too. I've only done 2 with battery mods. Usually I don't know why, if they sold me it with the battery. Oh, there it goes. Okay, let's see if we can turn it on. Yep, volume. Uh-oh, no volume. Well, hopefully that amp is good, because there's no volume, but the screen's working, which is a good sign. And I'm gonna try to go back in and check out what was going on with that. Maybe not. Hey, we're gonna have to unscrew this and check it out. I'm gonna check all this out. I know the board is still connected and everything, so we're gonna nicely unscrew everything. Okay, I still got my soldering iron heated up and stuff too, so hopefully it's not just the speaker. Okay, well, let's do this. Volume's all the way up. I have everything lined up properly, so I don't think the speaker is specific, so we're gonna try that. Maybe it is specifically one way. We'll see if that works. Oh, what about the original speaker? And I put that away, didn't I? I'm just gonna solder the speaker to those points right there, see if that does anything. Okay, so the speaker's still working, but this is not. I'm thinking I may have soldered this to the wrong points, and that is because of how this board is made. It looks like it's supposed to line up with those other contacts for the actual speaker, and that's why it's not working. So I have to pull this up. Go. Well, it does say volume right there, SP1, SP2 right there. So why that's not working, I don't know. Maybe this little board is garbage. All right, I'm back again. Yeah, this is the same video, but I'm just saying that because I just took some break for a second. So that little thing that I said, let's just stick it randomly, well, I stuck it up in here, and watch this. If you hold down this little sensor, it changes the color. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Now, very, very interesting to say the least. Now, let's turn on, I know there's no buttons or anything. Let's see if we can get a game in here. There we go. And there's our speaker. And let's see if we can play Pokemon Fire Red on this thing. But yeah, this front one That changes the brightness levels. You don't even need to solder those wires, I guess, but you can anyways. That's pretty interesting, because what these do, if you hold the select and use the triggers at the same time, it changes the brightness levels too. But this also changes the brightness level, which is pretty cool. It's a touch sensor, and that's what this is too. You can change, and I think this only works when you're at the home menu, maybe. Yeah, this I don't know, this card sucks. I'm gonna tell you that, by the way. Yeah, it just froze on me. Oh well, whatever. But that's it, and now we can actually put this thing back together properly. So let's pull this battery out, hopefully nicely, and actually finish putting everything back together, because we still need to put the triggers back in. We need to put the sides back in, and the only thing that sucks is that amp. That amp thing, that kind of sucks, but whatever, it is what it is. At least the speaker still works. It's not something to do with the speaker, and we can still use the GBA, which is the main part, right? Is being able to use it. Now, that's the wrong one. Make sure we put the right ones back in here. And the power switch, which only goes in one way too. Hopefully you guys could see all that. And then line this up. That's charging. Okay. And there you go. So you can see it's charging. But whatever. Let's just go back this way. And take this off. We're going to peel this screen front off. And wow, look at that. Looks a lot better now, doesn't it? It actually looks good. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, velocify it with some 70-40. Just kidding. It's just 100% alcohol, 90% alcohol. And there we go. Isn't that fancy? Let's turn it on, baby. Look at that brightness. Oh yeah. Now let's go into some Pokemon Emerald. That's it. Speaker's not that bad. It's just quiet. It's the normal sound of a speaker. But it still looks good. Have a nice day, guys. Love y'all. Bye!